Check. We're here, me and you. Hey guys, I wanted to get on here and talk about a subject that's been very close to me as of the beginning of the year. And I think like not enough people are talking about it because I think there's this weird tension with it. And you're probably thinking, what's she about to talk about? Because there's like 7,000 topics I could really talk about. But this topic is fasting. And everybody's like, oh, go to the next video because we don't care about that necessarily. But the truth is you should care about it because it's this beautiful dichotomy where you're choosing to die because you love. Much like Jesus chose to die because he loved you, you willingly put yourself on the altar and you say, okay, I'm going to choose to die. And there's lots of reasons in many books, so I'm not even trying to be an expert about this. So, don't send this to your pastor and say, Shay knows, because, Shay's on a journey. But I want to share my journey with you because that's the whole point of this YouTube channel. Anyways, at the beginning of the year, I flew back into Atlanta where I live, and I really just felt like God nudging me to let go of distractions in my life. And you're like, yeah, I'm definitely fast forwarding this video. Don't stop right there. Stop, because you need to listen to this. Because chances are you may be in a point of your life where you're really trying to hear God about something and you can't hear him because there's lots of noise around you. So I would actually go to say this video is for you because I was at a point at the beginning of the year where I just wanted to grasp his heart in a clear way. It's not because he's not clear, right? It's not because he's not with me. Like, he's with me all the time. But the truth is like life is trying to grab you in all different ways. And so with that said, consecrating yourself and fasting, whether it's food, social media, entertainment, anything, like I think that it doesn't clear him. It clears you in order that you could hear him. Because the truth is God's always talking. And so sometimes it's just harder to hear him. And sometimes it's because of us. And I don't say that in a condemning way. I say that because life is happening all around us. So at the beginning of the year, I was hanging out with my best friend and I was like, I really just felt like God nudging me to get off social media. And I instantly, this usually doesn't happen, so I don't want to make it look like it's like, the easiest thing I ever did. But it was like God spoke to me, come off social media, and literally within like an hour, I was like, bye. And I didn't tell the world I was leaving. I wasn't like, hey, see you later. Not that I'm against that. I just literally I didn't have it in me. I was like, I'm leaving and I'm not telling anybody I'm leaving. And so I did for about, I think it was like 40 days that I was off social media, and I didn't plan it that way. I kind of went off with the intentions of like, oh, I'm going to be off for a week, kind of reset and then come back on. And by the time a week was done, I was like, I love this. I love that I don't feel this need to show my life to the world. I love that I'm not hearing everybody's inspirational quotes every day, all day on my Instagram feed. And don't get me wrong, again, I love that. I do that. So it's like I can't be mad about it. But what I loved the most was that I authentically found myself again. Because I think sometimes as such a great tool as social media is, it can also become very blurry. And I don't necessarily struggle with comparison, but it's easy for me to hear what God is speaking to other people and take it and take it and take it and be like, man, this is what God used this person to speak to me, which is great. And he did. But what's he speaking to me? Like, what's my authentic voice and what am I authentically hearing him say? Because what if he's trying to tell me something completely different than what he's trying to tell this person? And so as I came off and I loved it. I loved that I didn't have, in the beginning it was hard because I'd pull up to a red light and be like, time to scroll. And then I was like, wait, I don't even have it on my phone anymore. But after a while, I loved it. I was like, this is what life is. This is refreshing. And I began working on other projects and just things that I could actually just put my time and my focus into. And it was just awesome. And so with that said, I consecrated my time and my ear for God to come close. He was already close, but for me, almost to draw near to him and give him my ear, give him my attention. And I came out with more stuff than I probably have had in a long time, of things that I feel like he was speaking to me, genuinely to my heart, not through Bill Johnson's posts. I love his stuff. All these people, I could go on and on and on with the people that I love and I glean from. But to take time and say, okay, like, I'm not listening to all of this. I'm literally just sitting with my Father. I'm sitting with him. I'm consecrating myself and my time to give to him, and him speaking to my heart, that I'm not going to be shook the next day, because I know he spoke to my heart. It wasn't through 7 other people, which I'm about. I love that. But to give yourself to this space of consecrating yourself. So I did that for a while, and I got back on, and let's be honest, it's a deep, dark abyss of social media. So I got on and I was like, how can I get back on but not let it rule my life? Because it has the potential to do that. Literally was having a conversation today about how the heck do you create good boundaries with it? Because it's so easy that you get on and all of a sudden you've been on for an hour and you're like, what the heck did I just do with an hour of my life? And so there's different ways in which you can do that. But learning my own boundaries with social media, and how can I still influence and share my life with people, but not make it an idol. And I can't tell you how to do that, because idols look different. But for me, there's this beautiful thing on your phone that's called screen time. So if you go on there and you click, make it like a time limit for your app, and it will tell you, it'll shut off your app. It is the best thing Apple has ever done since creating the iPhone, in my opinion. And so that's something that I do. But I wanted to talk about it because I think, I posted this the other day, and it was, what you desire may not be morally wrong, but the way that you desire it could be completely wrong. Pause. Because there's 7,000 topics that I could hit with that, but I think social media is the same. I don't think social media is wrong, but I think the way in which you're using it and the time you give to it could be wrong. The idea that you want to be seen for the wrong reason could be wrong. But the idea that you want to leverage your life in many ways for the gospel is not wrong. So there's these tensions, right? And so I think it's beautiful to lay things down and say, God, I'm laying this down. I'm going to silence this noise, the distraction, and I'm going to focus on you, because you're really the reason. You're the reason I wake up. You're the reason I even want to share about my life, because you transformed my life. And so fasting's beautiful because it allows for the noise to cease and for our spirit mans to rise up and say, no, I'm hearing him again. I'm not muffled by entertainment. I'm not muffled by these things. And so it kind of launched me into this, like, even going into like an extended liquid fast. I'm not telling you that to boast in myself, because I felt like poo. So there's really nothing to boast in. But I did it because I was like, God, it's almost like this part of my spirit that craves more of him. And it's like, okay, like, I'm going to leverage myself, because if I'm crying out for more, and I want you to pour more in me and on me, then I've got to make room. I got to get things out so that you can pour in. And so there's so many things that you could fast. I had a friend tell me once that works with International House of Prayer, Hazen, and he said, Shay, he's like, you could do a 40-day liquid fast. You could fast 40 days from cookies. If God's telling you to do it, it's anointed. But if you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, it's not anointed. You're just doing it to do it, as if there's performance behind it. But if God's breathing on you, like, hey, don't eat cookies for 40 days, or hey, don't eat sugar for whatever, like, that's what he's on. And you've got to follow the heartbeat of your king. Yes. And so I want to encourage us, because we're such a social media driven culture, and I love it. I think there's amazing things about it, but I want to challenge you the way that I've challenged myself, is to find your authentic self again. Like, cut it out for a minute and just remind yourself who you are, not who Instagram tells you to be, not Instagram's way of telling you where you should be in life, or what kind of mom you should be or what kind of person you should be. But who are you genuinely in the heart of the Father? That the Bible says that before the foundations of the earth, he thought of you. So those thoughts, remind your soul and let him remind you who you are. And so I want to challenge you in that. If that really strikes a chord with you, I'd love for you to leave a comment, because I would actually love to facilitate communicating about this topic, because I think it's a huge topic. And so, yeah, thank you for listening. And I pray that you would be able to follow the nudge of the Spirit and ask, what's he asking of me? And what do I want to leverage for a second so that I could draw close? Because the word says he'll draw close, but you also have to draw close. So I hope you have a good day.